I always show my kids real emotions and I'm always honest with them about everything. I have told them I'm sorry that we didn't do a lot of fun stuff this week. Mommy is just going through some stuff right now, but I've cherished every second with you. And I try to be as open and honest as I can because, especially in a world that raises men to, man up, and I have two
Mhm.
little boys, I want them to know the power of feeling and embracing your emotions.
Welcome back to the Vibe with Kai podcast presented by Sucre Bay. Now, before we dive in, I want to quickly remind you of my collaboration fragrance with Sucre Bay. It's called Why Did I Walk Into This Room? And it features notes of fresh baked cherry pie, a little light cinnamon, and the absolute acceptance of who you are. It is a gender neutral love letter to the ADHD community. You can grab your bottle right now at sucrebay.com. Today, my friends, we are getting into a deeply honest conversation with my good friend, Kassi Mansfield. Kassi and I have been friends for years. We've been mutuals on these platforms for such a long time. I know her as my friend, but you may know her as the awkward, sarcastic mom friend who takes chaotic voiceovers and makes them look amazingly good on camera. She is a massive fitness creator and the business owner behind Stronger Today. And in this interview, she completely takes the mask off. In this episode, we talked about the heavy reality of single motherhood, breaking generational cycles for her two sons, and what it actually looks like to navigate a thing called autopilot depression behind the scenes. She even shared the hardest truth about her healing journey, which is looking in the mirror and admitting when you are the problem. It is an incredibly raw look at someone who refuses to be the fake aesthetic mom on the internet. And I know so many of you are going to relate to her story. As always, during this interview, Kassi put me in the hot seat for a segment we call Reverse the Mic. In this segment, she asked me some really personal questions about my own childhood memories and the quotes that get me through my darkest times. You can check out the Reverse the Mic segment by subscribing to my Patreon or Facebook for only $5 a month. By subscribing, not only do you get that segment, but you get full access to my ADHD deep dive video series of educational videos and private behind the scenes looks at my life and my mental health journey that I don't post anywhere else. Without further ado, my friends, let's get into this amazing conversation with my good friend, Kassi Mansfield.
All right, Kassi, welcome
Hello.
to the Vibe. We have been friends on the interwebs for years, and
Years.
this is the first time that we actually get to have a conversation, not via text or message or anything like that. And so I'm super excited that you're actually here with me right now. So I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's so nice
Yeah.
to talk and not just me voiceovering, using your audio and lip syncing to it. So very excited to be here.
It's funny because like we've been floating around each other's digital orbit for quite some time, but like you mentioned, you usually take my audio, like my voice, and you make it look so much better on camera. And
No.
I have to ask, like, what is it about my chaotic voiceovers that speak? So, because you describe yourself as an awkward, sarcastic mom soul, right? So, what is it
Yeah.
about my craziness that speaks to your awkward, sarcastic mom soul?
I feel like we are on the same level of awkward, crazy chaoticness that
Oh yeah,
I will hear certain audios and I'm like, oh my gosh, this resonates to me so much right now. And I know so many more people need to hear this, but like from you, just in my body somehow at the same time. And it just is so relatable, especially when it comes to anxiety or being an introvert or
yeah.
just those of us that have mental health issues but
Mhm.
can turn them into a humor based, relatable versus just being our own pity party all of the time. I think it's just
Yes.
it made it fun to kind of
Yeah.
take relatable concepts and make it fun.
Yeah, and you do a great job with it. And
Thank you.
we need to set the record straight now. You identify as the awkward, sarcastic mom friend.
Yes.
I want to set the record straight. Is that a brand that you built on purpose, or is that just genuinely what happens when you wake up and try to function as a human being every day?
How I become awkward.
Yeah.
It's funny. I never considered myself awkward until a bunch of people told me I was awkward. And I remember being at the gym and a friend of mine, we knew each other, kind of saw each other for years
Yeah.
at the gym. And then we started getting to talk, and they're like, it's funny when I first saw you, like, you have on these baggy clothes and a beanie and you're covered in tattoos and you have this
Yeah.
RBF on. And then I talked to you, like, I thought you were this one thing, and I talked to you and you're just so awkward. And I was like, yeah, yeah. And I was born on the East Coast, raised in Colorado. I feel like sarcasm is just a fluent language in both of those states. So it's just that
Absolutely.
awkward,
Absolutely.
sarcastic, chaotic, introverted, socially anxious mom friend that loves
Yeah.
everybody.
I don't remember where on the East Coast did you grow up?
I was born in Rhode Island, but I lived in
Oh,
Colorado for 22 years and now I'm in Texas.
yes.
I kind of
Yes.
just
And
walked around.
so you're part of the Northeast crew too, because I live right outside of Philly. I was born and raised in Jersey, so I'm a Jersey boy.
Yes, yes, we've
But
talked
you
about
you
that.
get that Northeast that Northeast vibe, that mentality. I always consider myself Northeast, like born and raised, but I have a West Coast heart.
Yeah.
Like that's just my spirit. You had mentioned going to the gym, and you do a lot of like fitness content. You do a lot of fitness partnerships and all that, but you do mix that with a heavy dose of comedy and just real life stuff. So when you're at the gym, like I'm curious, like you were talking about having like RBF and like baggy clothes and like beanie and all that. When you're working out, are you actually in like beast mode, or are you like internally sometimes writing your next skit about how ridiculous life can be while you're like lifting weights? Like what kind of mode are you in when you're actually working?
Honestly, a combination of both.
Yeah.
Sometimes I am in there fighting demons, and sometimes I'm
Yeah.
listening to Hannah Montana and just jamming out. And there'll be times that I'm lifting in random, because I own an app as well, and
Yeah.
I'll randomly have ideas, and I'll just be on like a machine, and you see me doing leg extensions, and I'm just typing the note in my phone of the idea that I have, or I'll
Yeah.
hear a line in a song, and I'm like, wait, I can twist that and put that into a video. A mix of both. Depends on the day, depends on the week of the month, kind of what we're going through.
I hear you. I hear you. I love that because I think it really highlights how we use humor to kind of buffer the world around us at times. And I think that's actually a perfect way to go into the next part, which what I want to talk with you here, because I want to talk about the single mom and creator balance here that you have to deal with on a daily basis. I want to start off with like Instagram life versus reality life. You're a single mom running a business, creating content. People see the funny reels, but what does a not so good mental health day actually look like when the cameras aren't rolling for you?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you asking that. I actually just came very open online about the mental health struggles that I've been
Hmm.
going through the last year and a half, 2 years. I feel like for so long, and I've been doing Instagram in particular for almost 13 years now. I've been doing it for a
Hmm.
very long time. And I've kind of gone through all the phases. And I feel when people first started following me, it was before there was reels and trends and everything. And I was very raw and real and relatable. And once I started doing all of, the TikToks, the funny videos, that
Yeah.
they started going mega viral, they were blowing up. I was having a lot of fun doing it, but then I lost touch with being real and raw because I was afraid of losing those views. I was afraid of it's a sensitive world today.
Yes, it
People
is.
are really mean, and it's you have to I feel like it's no longer being able to just talk about kind of what you're going through. Everything has to be a whole production, and it has to
Yes.
have a hook in the first 1.2 seconds, and it has to have sounds, and it has to have, and it's no longer, it kind of took away. And I was afraid to post for so long about that. And I've opened up the last, month and a half of really what I've been going through, because I mean, full transparency, the last year when my kids were with their dad, because we're 50-50 custody,
Sure.
I would spend, not even slightly exaggerating, almost all of those 7 days on just sitting doom scrolling for 7-8 hours a day.
Yeah.
I didn't leave my couch. There was a point where I sat on my couch the whole day, didn't eat, just sat there distracting myself. And that was my reality for a really long time. And I hit a breaking point back in December, honestly, where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I wasn't passionate about my work anymore. I had no idea how to film content anymore. I would try to do funny skits, try to do lip syncs, everything, and you could just
Yeah.
see on my face that it was so fake. And if I tried talking to the camera, it sounded so inauthentic
Sure.
that I just stopped showing up. I stopped making content. I stopped doing anything. And I hit a point where I was like, I need to just be real and raw. And if I lose followers for it, I do. But I'd rather be open about the mental health struggles that I'm going through with, I'm living in autopilot depression right now
Sure.
and fighting through that. And so it actually has had an incredible reaction in response, I should say, since I've opened up about that. And sorry, I
Right.
kind of rambled on in
No,
that.
no, no. That's a good thing. I think people need to hear this because I know there's going to be a lot of people that are listening to this that are like, "Oh, I feel you, and I
Yeah.
hear you," and I think that's important for people to talk about. So the fact that you are talking about it, which is not easy to talk about, to be, let alone vulnerable with yourself, but to be vulnerable in front of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, sometimes that's hard. On top of the life of being a mom and a business owner in this world, to do it as vulnerable as possible. I think people need to hear that. And if I'm not mistaken, even though, like you said, you had mentioned this past December being a big point for you, the trauma side of it has been something that you've dealt with your whole life. And I think that a lot of times, sometimes people just assume that like once you become a parent, you kind of like graduate from your own childhood issues, right? Which I think
Mhm.
I think is an interesting way to look at it. But I'm curious, how has becoming a mom highlighted or changed the way that you look at your own past?
You hit these moments, and I'm not the perfect parent by any means. I still have my good days, my off days, and you realize you're not just living life for yourself anymore,
Right.
and you're breaking generational patterns. You're having to break through your ego is the biggest thing. There's so many times that I'm just, when you're really going through it, you're very quick to irritability, when you kind of lose confidence in yourself, you lose confidence in everything, and you have to stop yourself. There's times that my kids are crazy and I just want to scream and yell, and I try to catch
Hmm.
myself in that because I'm like, it's not their fault for what I have gone through. It is not
Right.
their responsibility to, and I always show my kids real emotions, and I'm always honest with them about everything. I have told them I'm sorry that we didn't do a lot of fun stuff this week. Mommy is just going through some stuff right now, but I've cherished every second with you. And I try to be as open and honest as I can, because especially in a world that raises men to, man up, and I have two
Hmm.
little boys, I want them to know the power of feeling and embracing your emotions, and seeing them and valuing those emotions as much as happy and anger and sad and joy, and all of those are all the same level. They should all be acknowledged and appreciated for what they are.
Hmm.
So being a mom, it's rough because I want to sit, I want to dwell, I want to cry, I want to do nothing, I want to just hide away and stay under the covers in bed, and I have to
Yeah.
get up and live for them, and I just try to find gratitude every day in having them and making the best of the days that I can.
Your strength is admirable. I just want to make sure that I say that because I know it's not easy to go through and to talk about. So again, I appreciate you opening up about that because I know there's going to be people that need to hear it. And you had just mentioned going through autopilot depression, which is a term that I had was not familiar with until earlier this year. And for those of you that are watching or listening at home, think of autopilot depression as kind of like this high functioning depression where people still go do the work. They're still, in this case, feeding the kids, still hitting the gym. And so to the outside world, everything that Kairos is doing, everything that Cassie is doing looks fine. And at times it even looks like we're thriving. But internally for us, we are disconnected, we're disassociating, we're completing tasks via this, where the autopilot part comes in. We're completing tasks via muscle memory sometimes rather than the conscious engagement of things. And so we aren't living our life, we're just kind of executing it
Yeah.
in a way, kind of thing. And so you talking about that is, I think, is really, really important. And I appreciate that, especially for you, because I think in the world of social media, there's this pressure, especially for someone like you, to be like the aesthetic mom, right? Like to you had mentioned, oh, I'm not the perfect mom, but there is a pressure, I feel like, to be the aesthetic mom on social media. How do you navigate that? How do you navigate being so open and vulnerable when there is sometimes an expectation of being a perfect mom? And when you do talk about not being a perfect mom, people are going to say things about it. People are going to have their own opinion about it. How do you navigate through that?
In no world do I ever, I mean, even people are like, what do you do for a living? I never say social media, I never say influencer. I just say I'm a
Hmm.
business owner, because I
Hmm.
feel like, as you said, influencer has gotten such a look based around it.
Hmm.
And I try to show the imperfections. Even the other day I was showing something and I didn't even think twice about it. I was showing something going on upstairs, and someone was like, I know you're gonna get a lot of crap for how messy your house is right now, but like thank you for showing that. I was like, I didn't even think about, I mean, even right now,
Yeah.
behind me is a disaster. Like, I feel like it is my job and my duty to be the rarity in this polished, highlighted world of social media
Hmm.
to show that I am genuinely just a human being. My house gets absolutely destroyed within 30 minutes of my kids being back home. And to me,
Yeah.
we're making memories. I used to panic so much about cleaning, about cleaning, about cleaning. And I'm like, why? Time is so limited with them just in the world in general. Why do I feel like I need to put on this fake persona, this fake face to impress a bunch of people I don't know, and then what? For people to potentially compare themselves to me off of a lie. And
Right.
I would absolutely hate more than anything in this world for somebody who preaches mental health and who preaches bettering ourselves and working on ourselves to have somebody compare themselves to me for me showing lies all the time. I would never
Right.
want that. So I try
Right.
to show the imperfections as much as I can. And it's something I'm in general working to do better, now that I have been opening up a bit more. Yeah, there's so much fake
There's
out there.
so much. There's so much fake. And I think that sometimes people can see through the bullshit. You know,
Yeah.
like people can see through it. And like that's why I'm not a big fan of toxic positivity. To your
No.
point, like I think it's really important to show both sides of it,
Yeah.
you know, because like otherwise you're not being genuine. Not like
Right.
you're not being genuine. So what's the point? And one of the reasons why I love you so much and I relate to you is because we both use humor heavily in our content. And I'm curious, like for the longest time for me, I used humor to deflect from my trauma, right? But now I use humor to kind of process my reality. Where do you fall in that spectrum right now? Is like when you say that you're sarcastic, is the sarcasm a shield or is it a tool for healing or is it a little bit of both?
I would say it's a little bit of both. I would say it's very much my personality. I mean, being East Coast, all of that. It's my humor. It's how I always say, whoever I date, we have to have like the perfect flirt to roast ratio. It
Yes.
is a lot of my personality, but it is also how I handle a lot of social anxiety. I spend, especially with everything I've gone through the last 2 years and being so alone, I'm not around people a lot. So it's kind of
Hmm.
a way that I am able to find comfort in talking to people that I don't know
Right.
and breaking that silence when I don't really know what else to say. And so it is a big version of coping and processing things and just trying to get through whatever emotions I really am feeling. I don't like negative attention on me. I don't like being a pity party. I don't like having people feel sorry for me,
Right.
especially when a lot of my issues that I'm facing are from me personally. I didn't get hit by a car from somebody else driving. A lot of the things are my personal problems. So I try to use humor so that people don't feel uncomfortable and that people aren't feeling awkward or like, you know,
Yeah, it makes the conversation a little bit easier because it is hard to have that conversation and it makes it a little bit easier to digest,
yeah,
you know, at times. And I think that distinction between shielding ourselves and healing ourselves is critical. And I want to dig a little bit deeper into that because you when I was doing my research on Cassie, you had mentioned the term that stood out to me is breaking cycles. And I that is so much easier said than done. And so you had mentioned earlier about how you're trying to raise your boys, you know, in a world where it's like, especially these alpha males that are out here just like pushing like this alpha male culture and, you know, brush it off and, you know, rub some dirt on it, pull up the bootstraps, you know, don't show emotion, like that kind of stuff. So you're doing that. You're raising two boys while simultaneously trying to heal, I guess, the inner child within yourself. And that can sometimes feel like driving a car while simultaneously fixing the engine of that car, right? So
yeah.
you were talking about how you tell your bad days, you know, your not so good days to your children. What are their reactions when you explain that to them? Like, do they understand what's happening or do they ask questions? And I think a lot of moms that listen to this would be interested to know like how your kids are reacting to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I feel for me, the main thing with parenting and raising kids is that you are the example in every aspect. I think a lot
Hmm.
of times as parents, we think that just means in what we do for work, how we cook, what if we clean. I think a lot of people think that. And in general, it is the words that we say, the
Yeah.
mannerisms we have, the emotions we feel. And I feel big, especially with my parents' generation, a lot of parents didn't show emotions back then. And I know me personally, or, I grew up with a single mom as well who has been through a lot of stuff. And I never really saw her show emotion. And it made me feel like emotions were wrong for a long time. And so, gosh, light, okay, it's coming back. So when that happens, I posted a video that I was really afraid to post on my feed, and it ended up going blowing up, and it was from my Ring camera on my counter, and it was me. I was overwhelmed. I still had to cook dinner. I had some stuff happen, dealing with stuff with, their father, and I just started breaking down crying. And my youngest, you see him in the video, he's literally trying to crawl up on the counter, everything he can, jumps up on the chair to like go and give me a hug. And you can kind of hear me, he rubs my back and he goes, I know it's hard, and it's going to be okay though. And in that moment, it took me to every time that he is struggling with something, that's exactly what I say and do to him. When
Oh.
he is having a hard time, oh God, I'm trying to not get emotional. When, he's struggling, either of my boys, I always hold them and I ask them how they want to process it, if they just need to talk, if they need advice. And I just tell them, like, I know it's hard, but is going to be okay. It always is okay. And I think, time and a place for everything. I try to not always just show sadness in front of them, but
Yeah.
if I yell at them, I always sit them down and I apologize and I let them know exactly what I am sorry for and
Right.
how I'm going to fix things moving forward. It is always an apology with an action, because that's how I want them to understand apologies. And I'm just very transparent. They do understand emotions. I tell them, I'm so sorry that mommy yelled. It had nothing to do with you. Mommy is currently going through some stuff and I'm very overstimulated and I outlashed on you and that was wrong of me. And I promise to continuously work to be better at that. And I am deeply sorry. And like I asked them, is there anything you want to say? And so I just try to be very open. Me and their dad parent very, very differently. He's definitely more on
Sure.
the, you know, nothing
Yes.
bad about him. He's just, ex-military. He's very alpha, like runs a course on how to be a man, like all of that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so I try to make sure that they see the other side as well.
It's clear to me, at least, that, and this is really refreshing, not only as just an observer, but as your friend, to see that you're doing the work, and there's a lot of self-reflection there, which a lot of people struggle with or just don't do at all. And
Yeah.
so, like, it's really refreshing to see that and to hear that. What has been the hardest truth that you've had to accept about yourself while you're doing that self-reflection? So while you're doing the self-reflection, you're going through this healing journey, what has been the hardest truth for you to accept?
That I'm the problem. I
Mm,
think that's been a really hard, and not saying that, I have been a victim of my circumstances, and
sure.
more what I mean. I have had things happen to me over the last few years and I allowed myself to continue to let those bring me down. And I
Hmm.
continued to self sabotage. I continued to have imposter syndrome. I continued to isolate. I continued to not talk to people. I continued to get off medication. I
Hmm.
continue to let myself get worse. And as much as I wanted to say, the reason I am this way is because this happened and it's because this happened. And it's sure those things happen, but how I reacted to it was my fault. And how I
Right.
continued to react to it was my fault. And I'm the problem of why it is continuing to happen and go down this route. And if I don't make changes, nobody else is going to. So that was hard as somebody who has, a lot of people, when I was really real and raw, I got divorced at 7 months pregnant. I got cheated on. I had a $0 buyout from my business. I got absolutely nothing. I had to start over from absolutely square zero. And everybody saw me becoming this like super strong version of myself and healing and going all this way. And this time when things happened to me, I didn't do that. And I
Right.
felt really embarrassed, that I felt like I wasn't able to just be like, oh, but this happened, let me move forward. I dwelled on it for as long as I did. So that was hard. It was hard to tell myself, you thought that you were this strong girl that can overcome anything and make yourself happy and push through anything. And you know what? Right now, you're not doing that. And you need to wake the fuck up. Sorry for
Yeah.
cursing.
No,
but
you're
like,
allowed to. You're good.
you need to wake the fuck up. You need to make actions. You need to put the freaking phone down. You need to be present. You need to go do stuff for yourself, take yourself on dates, be active, go on walks, move your body, eat good food. Like, I had to kind of punch myself a little bit. So,
Yeah, that
yeah.
that kind of self-reflection is it's so tough. I relate to everything you're saying, especially when it comes to relationships for me, because I'm a single man, 38 with two cats, right? And people are like, how and why are you single? And so like I had to look back at my previous relationships and see like it's easy for me. I can easily be like, oh, I blame them for this or this happened, blah blah. Like I can easily do that, but I'm the common denominator here.
Yeah.
So what can I do? What was my role in this? And to your point, how did I react to it? And the self sabotage from my end, 100%. Like as soon as you said that, I was like, oh shit. Because I feel every word of that. And so to be honest, if you would have had asked me the same thing, what is the hardest truth of my healing journey, I probably would have said some things very, very similar, because like learning that I play a role in my own bullshit, is a really hard thing to come across. And you have to do it while being a single mom. And you identify as an introvert, right? You said like
Yeah.
you don't go out, right?
I go to the
And
gym, I
so
go home.
right, right. And you do all this as a single mom. And so all of this you have to do this as an introvert, and you don't get to clock out really ever. So how do you protect your peace when sometimes there's no one else to kind of like tag in for you?
That's been honestly one of the biggest struggles that I've dealt with.
Yeah.
I feel like, for a long time, I feel like post divorce, I had like the little relationship after. And then once that ended, I kind of went through the phase of wanting to have somebody in my life continuously and realized that was the problem. That was the problem. And I took the last year, almost 2 years now, to be fully single and did not
Mhm.
talk to anybody, do anything. And it is so lonely. It is
Mhm.
so lonely, and it is really hard to do things alone. I so many times am just like, I cannot wait for the day that I have somebody
Yeah.
to be in this life with me. But I also know that I am in no place to be able to do that right now. I'm in no place to, it's not that I'm in no place to be a wife or to be somebody's partner. I'm in no place to accept the kind of love that I deserve right now.
I hear you.
And as unfortunate as that am, you can't fully accept a love. You can't believe that somebody loves you for who you are unless you believe that within yourself. So
Amen.
it's, I feel like it's just been trying to do as many stuff for myself as I can,
Yeah.
trying to work with what I can. I've been manifesting a lot. I go and talk to the moon,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, rely on the support system that I do have and just kind of push through the best that I can.
And you're doing a kick-ass job. And like I again, as I get the unique perception of not just being an observer but being your friend, so like again, it just makes me happy to see this happening. And like you have this life, mom, business owner, fitness, all of this stuff. And I feel like when people kind of combine all that together, you kind of get this like strong female lead kind of energy, right? And that I feel like that label can sometimes trap people into feeling like you always have to be the strongest person in the room sometimes. Do you feel that way sometimes?
All the time. All the time.
Yeah.
I Again, so many people, I have a company called Stronger Today, and it's
Hmm.
a mental health apparel line. And I started that when I was pregnant, staying in hotels after, going through everything that I did.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that reached out after that were like, got my brand tattooed on them, first of all, is wild to me. But for the last 6 years, I've continuously gotten messages of, you're so inspirational, you're so strong, like, I can't wait to be the woman that you are, like, your goals, all of this. And again, that was really hard for me to open up about my mental health now because I was so afraid of letting those people down because I felt like everybody expected me to just be this strong woman all the time that I was at one point. And I still
Sure.
am. She's still in there. I know that she's still in there. She just was taking a
She's here
nap.
right now. She is here right now
She's here
talking to
right
me.
now. She's out of hibernation, but it was hard, and it is hard, and it led me into a spiral of imposter syndrome where
Hmm.
I, felt, you hear one thing and you felt another thing, and it was just yelling at both sides that I felt so disconnected from myself because I was like, which version am I? Truly,
Hmm.
am I this strong, inspirational, like business owner, mom, gym goer, fitness, like blah, blah, blah? Or am I this really sad, depressed girl that can't leave her house? I genuinely lost so much touch and of not realizing that the two can't coexist at the same
Yeah.
time. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, all the time I feel the pressure to be the strong girl.
I
But I'm
I
like, no
love
more.
that name. I love that name, Stronger Today. Like, because especially the word today, right? Because it feels like it's a direct challenge to sometimes the procrastination that a lot of us have to deal with. Like the name of it, it's not stronger tomorrow, it's not stronger in 6 weeks. It's stronger today. Why was it important for you to focus on today as part of the title there?
I recorded this video when I came up with the idea, and I'm so glad that I have that video still. And it was me sitting and saying, every time that I sit with these emotions and I process these emotions and I acknowledge these emotions, I am getting stronger by doing that. And every second that I am putting myself first and making steps to better myself, I am getting stronger from that. And I'm doing all of that today. I'm doing that today. And the next day I'll be doing that day. And I am
Hmm.
stronger today because of everything that I have done. And
Yeah.
even if you're not actively doing work on yourself and time is just passing, in situations of grief or situations of heartbreak, anything along those lines, you are stronger every day because of those. As time goes on, you are continuously getting stronger. So,
Hmm.
stronger today was just very, we're in the present. We're in the present. We're being stronger today. We're not going to push any further. Like today, no
Yeah.
matter what, even if it was 0.0000003% of progress, we made
Yeah.
progress and we're stronger because of that.
Absolutely. I feel like a lot of fitness programs out there sell kind of like the easy makeover fantasy, like lose 30 pounds and change your life forever and become a new person. But with Stronger Today, you explicitly say that this is more of a reset and not like an overhaul. Why is that distinction so critical for the women that you work with?
Yeah, so my stronger today, so I do like a stronger today challenge, and it's mixed with my app's name, which is Fit My Way. And I am all
Hmm.
about, as somebody who's had an eating disorder in the past, who has had extreme body dysmorphia, I don't believe that fitness, health, any of that has a size or shape. I feel like it is all about doing things to better ourselves physically, but mentally first, mentally more than anything. I think there is so much more power in just showing up for yourself, whether it's just walking or doing like a quick
Hmm.
workout or doing something, than starving yourself, pushing yourself past exhaustion, because then you're just going to rebound by the time that it's over. It's all about doing things to reset yourself,
Hmm.
build healthier habits. One thing we focus on is building habits. So it'll be make your bed in the morning, put on an outfit
Hmm.
that makes you feel confident, do your skincare, drink 10 ounces of water before coffee.
Right.
Nothing that is like drink a protein shake and
Yeah.
do this. It's not anything like that. It is becoming stronger today just by the little habits and just resetting your
Yeah.
mind, resetting your body, and just working internally and externally to become the best version of you.
I
Whatever that
love
looks
that.
like for you.
I wanna play a little game with you, Cassie.
Love games.
It's a game called This or That,
Mm,
and I'm going to ask you this or that questions, and you just have to say the first thing that comes to your mind with the options that I give you. Okay, are you ready?
mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, here we go. Number one, leg day or arm day?
Duh. Uh, this is gonna this is gonna tear everybody. Honestly, I prefer fun wise arm day. I do leg day more, but
Yeah,
arm day. I have more
yeah.
fun.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Iced coffee or pre-workout?
Iced coffee. I don't take pre workout.
There we go. Easy enough. Easy one. Filming the content or editing the content?
Ooh, filming.
Filming. I'm with you there. I'm with you
Yeah,
there. Because the editing can be a little tedious at times, for
it
sure.
can be. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The morning school rush or the bedtime battle.
Which one's worse or which one's better?
You interpret.
I actually have learned to cherish bedtime.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna say
yeah.
bedtime. I
The
do love
bedtime
those
battle.
moments.
Got
Yeah.
it. Oversharing on the internet or awkward silence in real life.
Oversharing all day. I do that
Yeah.
anyways. Oversharing all day.
Matching workout set or giant oversized t-shirt. I
I
already
I
know
don't
the
know if I've
answer.
ever worn a matching set to the gym ever.
I already knew the answer to that. But like, gym therapy or retail therapy?
Ooh. Mm. Gym therapy is the better option,
Yeah.
but like, I'm gonna
There's
be
no
a good
judgment here. You're
example.
safe. This is a
I'm
safe
gonna
space.
say I'm gonna say gym therapy because genuinely there's no bad outcome to it.
Fair. There you
Retail
go.
can get you in trouble.
Yes, yes, it definitely can, for sure.
Yeah.
Lip syncing using my voice or using your own voice.
Oh, your voice, 100%. I cannot talk to the I'm so bad at talking to the camera. Give me all of your audios any day of the week.
I love it.
They're so fun.
I think I already know the answer to this one too, but I'm curious. Being called an influencer or being called mom 500 times in a row nonstop.
Give me mom. Give me mom.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hate the term influencer.
So do I. I'm a big proponent of not like sometimes people will be like, and this is influencer the vibe with Kai. I'm like, I am not an influencer. I'm a content creator.
Content
There is a
creator.
difference. There
There
is
is a difference.
100% a difference. I am not an influencer by any means.
No.
Last one. 1 week without your phone or 1 week without the gym.
I would give anything in this world to go a week without my phone. Honestly,
Yeah.
I would love to go. My dream is to go to Ireland and get an
Yeah.
Airbnb in the middle of nowhere and go completely off grid, no
That sounds
electronics.
lovely. That
Yeah,
sounds lovely.
reconnect with the world.
I don't know how I would do it, but I 100% would love to find a way to just like even go get 24 hours without my phone, without having like a panic attack. Like I would love to just be forced to just like
Yeah,
not have my phone for like a day or a couple days
yep,
and just like see what life is like. Apparently the sun comes out and stuff, and
right?
apparently I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Apparently, the other week, I actually decided to the boys. It was their dad's week, and I did a
Yeah,
completely phone free day. So
nice.
I woke up, like, put my phone in the back seat of my car, didn't touch
Yeah,
it, and did the whole morning without any noise, like no TV. I
yeah,
normally have sat like cartoons on all the time to keep my brain
yeah.
busy. So I did no TV, no nothing. I brought them lunch to have lunch with them, didn't bring my phone,
Hmm.
went about the day. And honestly, it was wild how different I felt by the end
Yeah,
of the day.
yeah.
Absolutely. If I anybody who gets to this point of the podcast, highly recommend doing one day without your phone anywhere near you. Like,
I might try it. I might
you should
try it.
try it. My irritability went down, my anxiety
Yeah.
was down. I was like, whoa, the clouds. Like, those look cool.
It's
Air,
like, oh, look at that.
sunlight.
There's air, breathing air, and there's
This is
other people outside.
wild.
This is crazy.
Yeah. Highly
That's.
suggested.
I might try it, and I would say I would message you and let you know how it's going, but that like defeats the purpose of
The next
the
day.
whole
You can tell me the
experiment.
next day.
Yes, yes, I will. I will. Cassie, we've come to that point in the podcast where it becomes the Cassie show. This is reverse the mic, where in this segment, I turn the microphone over to you and to any guest that is on, and you get to ask me 3 questions, anything that you'd like. And this is an exclusive segment for all of my Patreon and Facebook subscribers. So if you are not a subscriber and you want to watch this segment, then you have to go subscribe. It's only $5 a month. You'll get access to this, and you get access to all of my ADHD deep dive educational videos. Same thing on Facebook, same thing on Instagram or on Patreon. $5 a month. You get exclusive access to all of that. So with that said, Cassie, I turn the microphone over to you. This is Reverse the Mic. It is now the Cassie Show. Thank you, Cassie, for having me as a guest. I'm so happy to be here. Well, thank you so much for those questions. That was a fun Cassie show. I'm so happy
Thank
that
you
I
so
was
much
a
for coming
guest.
to my show and being
Yeah.
my wonderful guest.
Who's the sponsor of the show?
Olipop is today's sponsor.
I love it. One of the reasons why I love you so much is because you are a genuine person, and I think that
Goes
even
both
some of the
ways.
people that follow you, that are going to like watch this or listen to this, are going to fall in love even more with you because, like, again, you don't use your voice often, right? And so people
Just
like
use
actually
yours.
hearing from
Yeah.
you, they just use my yeah, but like people hearing you talk about like I just did it. Now I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
I'm not paying attention. Hearing you talk about your life and stuff like that, I think it's going to be very validating. And for those people out there that are watching or listening that are like, I don't know who this Cassie person is, but I like her a lot. All of Cassie's handles are going to be in the show notes of this episode. So all you have to do is click and go there, and you'll be able to follow on Instagram, on TikTok, and check her out because like I think she's pretty cool. I think she's pretty cool. Yeah, go support, go check out, and also all of the things, the apps, the websites that Cassie runs. It's all going to be in there as well. The final question that I have for you, Kathy. This is how Kathy. Who's Kathy?
I get it all the time. Every phone
Who's
call.
Kathy? What? Sometimes people look at my name and like they'll see Kairos and they'll be like Chris. I'm like, really?
No,
Really?
I could see it. Honestly, in like today's world,
I
I could see
see
it being
it.
spelled that way. I get
Yeah,
it.
I'm just like, wow, that was a okay, whatever. This is the question that I always love to ask my guests as the final question. If you want the audience to take away one thing from our talk today, what should that one thing be?
You are an individual who is so beautiful and strong and capable, no matter what season of life you're going through. And don't believe the internet. It's not real all of the time. Don't ever compare yourself. Remember that you know your truths, and those that love you for who you are, and you are beautiful, and there is always, 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 always a light at every tunnel. No matter what, every tunnel ends with a light. It might be a foot long, a mile long, no matter what, just keep going until you get to that light. And you are stronger today because of everything you have been through. And I love you and I am proud of you. That is what I want to say.
I know you're talking to the whole internet just now,
I'm
but
gonna
I feel
cry.
like you were talking to me too. Like I just feel like you were
I
talking
do
straight
love
to
you and
me.
I am proud of you. Like, you should be very proud of yourself for being a voice for so many, and especially for being such a strong example of a man in, again, such a man up mentality world. You should be very, very, very proud of yourself for what you do. I do.
I
If no one's told you that, you need to hear it.
I'm really bad at taking compliments,
I
but
am
I'm
too.
learning. I'm working with my
I'm
therapist
sweating.
on it, and so I will say I accept that and I appreciate your words, even though
You're
I'm
welcome.
struggling
You're
to.
welcome. You're a beautiful bright light in this world, and never
Yeah.
let anyone ever dim that light.
Thank you. I accept that and I appreciate your words. Kassi, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being open and honest and vulnerable and genuine with
No,
me
thank you.
today. And
That conversation left me completely speechless for a minute. Hearing Cassie open up about the reality of autopilot depression and the sheer pressure of trying to be the strong female lead every single day, it's just so validating. The biggest takeaway for me was her absolute refusal to put up fake polished persona up just for views on social media. The courage it takes to show the messy house and the hard days and the real emotions, that's exactly what we need more of in this world. Please make sure you go support my friend Cassie. All of her links, including her Instagram, her TikTok, and her Stronger Today program, are all right there in the show notes. And a quick shout out again to Sucreabeille. Head on over to sucreabeille.com and check out my signature fragrance, Why Did I Walk Into This Room? If you're looking for free content, including my blog, my podcast archive, and my email newsletter, head on over to thevibewithkai.com. And if you want to hear that exclusive Reverse the Mic segment from today's interview with Cassie, plus get access to my ADHD deep dive video library and behind the scenes looks at my private life and my mental health journey, make sure you come join us on Patreon or Facebook for only $5 a month. And make sure you're following me on all of your favorite social media platforms at The Vibe with Kai. As always, if you love this episode, please leave a review and share it with a friend who might need to hear this message today. Once again, my friends, thank you so much for watching and for listening. As always, much love, good vibes. I'll catch you next time. Bye.